My updated list of top 10 nootropics in the roster. Yeah, look, many years ago, I launched a video titled my top 15, nootropics. It was either top 10 or top 15 after, a significant time of use. And that video got like 140,000 views. It's actually still one of our most popular videos on YouTube. So I decided after many years since that video and much more experimentation to do another list of my top 10 favorite nootropics. And really, these are the best compounds out there that you can get your hands on. So stay tuned, my friends. Strap in, because you're about to get the list of the best nootropics from nearly a 2-decade veteran. Meantime, got coupons for you guys for nootropic products and courses. Supercharged Dopamine is 15% off. Code for that is 15 now. The big one, the Torque Nootropic Stack, all day energy, hardcore motivation. This thing is buy one, get one free literally right now. Code for that is Torque BOGO. And the most potent, clean focus and flow stimulant, Cortex, is 20% off. The code for that is 20 now. All that stuff is in the description of this video or at livecortex.com. So this was the video, if you care to go watch it, top 12 best nootropics, my list after 8.5 years plus dose ranges that I did some time ago that ended up getting 143,000 views. Now look, this was, 6 or 7 years ago, so it's been some time. I've had a lot more time to experiment with some of the new research chemicals and new compounds. So I've got an updated list for you guys of what I would consider the best nootropics that you can get your hands on for brain performance, for energy, for verbal fluency, for motivation, for relaxing yourself. Nootropics do a lot of things. I'm going to break down 10 of the best that have a versatile set of mechanisms of action. Number one is a compound called Subroxy. Subroxy, the nomenclature name for that is Oroxylum indicum. This stuff, to put it simply, is a mild dopamine reuptake inhibitor, but also enhances brain-derived neurotrophic factor. That's kind of a reparative protein that I think you need in adequate quantities in order to repair neuronal function and to generally function well. Now, there are a ton of papers on Subroxy, but if you want to read one where it helped people with mild cognitive impairment, read this one, Effects of Oroxylum indicum extract or Subroxy on cognitive function in adults with self-reported mild cognitive impairment. Second compound in my top 10 best list is tried and true Aniracetam. I mean, you can't really, out of all the racetams besides perhaps Phenylparasetam, Aniracetam is the best one. You're talking about instant memory improvements, working memory improvements for some people, turning on verbal fluency. A good degree of people get focused when taking Aniracetam. I get all those things and mental energy. Like, it's this potent stimulation that, gets me to work. I feel smarter when I take Aniracetam. I actually can recognize that my brain is operating at a higher level compared to my baseline, and I thoroughly enjoy that. Dose range on Aniracetam is anywhere from 100 milligrams. Yes, people do respond to that low of a dose of Aniracetam to 1,500 milligrams, with most people finding a sweet spot kind of in the middle between 600 and 700 milligrams. Best taken with a choline source, typically low dose alpha GPC or low dose citicholine, and you're on your way. Aniracetam does a couple things. It'll force some choline release from the hippocampus and also modulate AMPA receptors, which fosters LTP, or long-term potentiation, which is the strengthening and growth of your synapses. Third best nootropic top in my list is Fasoracetam. This stuff is amazing. Not only does it actually make you function better when you acutely take it, like other nootropics should, but it also relaxes your brain so that you can actually focus. Some nootropics are very overstimulating, whereas Fasoracetam, it kind of gives you that clean, cool, collected state where focus is a lot easier. Fasoracetam is that perfect balance that via modulating GABA B receptor activity makes you chill and calm and relaxed. It's an anxiolytic and a performance-enhancing nootropic. So that's why it's on my top 10 list. Dose range is anywhere from 10 to 50 milligrams. Some people can get away with taking a little more. I'd really keep it in that range. My dose isn't even 20. I'll sometimes take 40 if I really need that anxiolytic chill state. Number 4 is a compound called Tecr. Now, we've talked about this, countless times on this channel, but it's so underrated, and I'm not sure why everybody in America isn't taking it, because it reduces oxidative stress, it keeps you awake via modifying the adenosine receptors in a better way than caffeine without the jitters and the side effects. Dose range on Tecr is anywhere from 50 to 250 milligrams. Again, people on the higher end in terms of body weight will require higher doses, most of them, in order to get potent effects, but generally most people respond to 100 to 200 milligrams of it. It is a profoundly powerful wakefulness-inducing stimulant. If you got the right dose, you slept well, and your testosterone's high, and you're generally healthy, it's somewhat comparable to modafinil. Number 5 on my list of top 10 nootropics is phenylparacetam hydrazide. Now, this stuff came out, I want to say 2 years ago, when regular phenylparacetam was a lot harder to find. It's basically a modified version of phenylparacetam that makes it onset quicker, requires lower doses, and is equally potent to regular phenylparacetam. Now, the interesting thing about this stuff is you don't have to dose it very high. So the dose range is like 50 to 150 milligrams. People can go up to 200 if they'd like, but it's usually overstimulating. It is a dopamine reuptake inhibitor, all right? So it's going to, either by blocking the dopamine transporters or by some other mechanism, keep more dopamine usably around in your brain. But at the same time, it also binds to cholinergic receptor sites, acting as acetylcholine and activating those receptor sites. You get focus, memory, verbal fluency on top of that dopamine style energy. Number 6 is tried and true modafinil. I mean, you're not going to find a better compound that's versatile in every area. I mean, it even improves memory, right? So it's not just about energy and wakefulness and motivation, but it also improves memory. You've got inhibition of the GABAergic system. You have blockage of the dopamine transporter, so you've got more dopamine around for the temporary period that you're using it. You have modification of the orexin system, which keeps you highly awake as if you slept for 20 hours and your brain was just completely turned on. And the craziest thing about modafinil is you don't feel like you're on a drug or that you've taken a stimulant. You just feel like a very, very optimized version of yourself. Dose range is 30 to 250 milligrams. Most people, again, are going to find a sweet spot in the middle. I'm around 75 to 100 milligrams, tried and true modafinil, like works every time. Number 7, and how could I not include this on this list for those of you who've been watching this channel for a while, is Alcar or acetal L-carnitine. I mean, this stuff increases the expression of nerve growth factor. You're going to make a little more acetylcholine as a result of taking it. You'll enhance fat uptake into powerhouse of cells, the mitochondria, for energy production in your brain by taking it. It's a mesocorticolimbic dopamine release agent, which is very impressive that it has all these, facets to it. And generally, I mean, it stacks well with stimulants, it stacks well with racetams, it can be taken by itself, and it's sustainable to be taken daily. My suggested dose range is 300 to 1500 milligrams. Again, most people are going to find a sweet spot somewhere in the middle. I'm at an even 400 milligrams when I take it. I don't require any more than that. Any more is a little overstimulating, especially if I get into a gram or so. But 400, it just does it for me. Turns the brain on. I notice it. I'm energized. I feel really good, and the stuff rocks. Number 8 is 9-methyl beta-carboline. I mean, how can I, put out a list of updated nootropics in my top 10 without including 9-MEBC? I mean, this stuff rejuvenates the dopaminergic system. It's studied for aiding in the restoration of the dopamine system in Parkinson's patients. But you can't get a better compound that this actually works on the dopamine system at the root instead of just modifying receptors or modifying signaling in some way. Dose range is 10 to 50 milligrams. Again, you can go a little over. Most people are going to find a sweet spot in the middle, but it also depends on what your objective is. If you're trying to restore dopamine and you're sure you have a dopamine issue, because you certainly should be sure, as many things mimic dopamine deficiency, then you'd want to be on the higher end of that range for 50 or so days with a cycle of 2 weeks off and then potentially another cycle on. But, for an acute stimulation of that dopaminergic activity, 25 to 30 milligrams suffices for most folks. Number 9, nicotine. And specifically nicotine patches, by the way. I have not seen nicotine gum or nicotine lozenges be as effective in turning on acute cognitive function, memory, focus, verbal fluency, energy, compared to nicotine patches. I mean, nicotine patches are incredible. I put a 7 milligram patch on my arm. I've talked about this at length on the channel. I've run multiple experiments with it stacked with Torque and it stacked with Cortex. And it's again, comparable to Adderall without the side effects. Very strong stimulation, super noticeable, and your brain will function better. Because, especially if you're not used to nicotine, you start going to 14 or 21 milligram patches, and you're probably going to have side effects. I mean, most people do. So number 9 on my list of top 10 nootropics ever is, yes, nicotine patches. Lastly, number 10, all right, the OG of nootropics, one of the most impressive, multifaceted, versatile nootropic compounds in the book that induces neurogenesis, gets you motivated, helps with verbal fluency, gives you brain energy, is uridine monophosphate. Uridine is a super nootropic. I've done countless videos about that. We used to have a stack with uridine until it became hard to get. I mean, the stuff is honestly just incredible. Dose range is 50 to 250 milligrams. Again, most people are going to find a sweet spot in the middle. If I've seen one dose be effective for the majority of people in the last 15 years that I've been dealing with uridine. It has been 150 milligrams. Now, just for the record, there's some misinterpreted research that comes from the Reddit fearmongers, where a mouse that was manipulated to not have a uridine homeostasis enzyme called upase developed cancer as a result of that. But that's what would happen if you feed a mouse a bunch of uridine and you knock out the uridine homeostasis enzyme. This is not something that you can replicate in humans. I mean, there's a lot of misinterpretation of scientific literature on Reddit. Chemistry is extremely specific. You have to know what you're talking about before you go and posit these kinds of things. So uridine is completely safe. It's on the GRAS list, generally recognized as safe. It's been a supplement for many years. I've taken it for over a decade, and I honestly love that uridine feeling. I'm just energized. I'm very motivated. I'm super interested in everything that I'm doing in life, and my brain functions a lot better. So I've been into nootropics for 16 years, guys, okay? Going on 17. So that's my top 10 list after nearly 2 decades. It doesn't mean that other compounds that we typically talk about or that are rad, shouldn't be right there, are 11 and 12 and 13 and 14, because there's many compounds like theobromine. Obviously, bromantane is a very powerful compound, one of my favorites. I mean, I like regular old paracetam, a couple grams of paracetam, and my brain is functioning super awesomely, right? So I can't fit everything into a top 10. These are my top 10. Top 2, pre-made stacks, obviously. There's some bias here. Number 1, the Torque stack. I mean, this has some of the compounds that we talked about, teacrine, alcar. But importantly, I mean, this stuff was designed and engineered for all-day energy, and it actually works. We blow out of inventory. It's crazy, and I just got the tap on the shoulder. We have some inventory to move. 400 bottles at this point at buy one, get one free. All right, the code for that is TorqueBOGO. You can do it in the description of this video or at livecortex.com. Secondarily, right now, discounts for Cortex, which is a high potency stimulant, but also really induces focus and flow. If you want to be in that state where you actually get stuff done, you kind of need to be focused and you need to be in flow. That's what Cortex delivers right now. 20% off. Code for that is 20 now. You can do that in the description of this video or at livecortex.com. Go to the homepage of livecortex.com and you'll find both of our stacks, courses like Supercharged Dopamine, Nootropics Mastery, consultations like TRT Protocol Optimization, other courses like Fix Erectile Dysfunction. Now, hosts of courses, coaching, and products that you can buy in the description of this video or at livecortex.com. All right, it's been an absolute pleasure hanging out with you. I hope you guys are having a great week. Much more content coming this week, so look forward to it, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one.